Well, welcome to China-American Bridge. Today we have a wonderful show. This weekend is the North American second annual Confucius Conference. And today we have 5 of the greats within the Confucius Institute program. And I will let Yulan introduce them.
Today we have 5 wonderful guests here today. So I will introduce from Miss Michelle Henry, right? And you're from Confucius Institute at the University of Pittsburgh.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's nice to be here.
Thank you. And the next guest is Dr. Paul Bell. You're the chairman of the board of CI, and you're also working at the University of Oklahoma.
Yes, thank you for inviting us.
Thank you. And our third guest is Jiaxian Xie.
Yes.
You're also the director of Confucius Institute at the San Francisco State University.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome here. And Meiru is our friend, has been here before.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you to come here again and also organizing this wonderful event.
My pleasure.
Thank you. And our next guest, last but not least, is our Dr. Zhu Yanchen, director of Confucius Institute at the SUNY University.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be in Portland.
Thank you all to welcome join here today. So I heard that you actually all this from different universities and collaborate with different universities. So can you please introduce us a little bit what our different missions and how you've been collaborate with the university in China?
Sure. The University of Pittsburgh is a Chinese language cooperative with Wuhan University, and we have about 30 Chinese volunteer teachers that teach in the public schools K to 16 all through the state of Pennsylvania. Right now we have about 3,000 kids taking Chinese in the state of Pennsylvania, and we are pretty much one of the largest institutes on the East Coast in the United States.
Wonderful. So how about Dr. Paul?
University of Oklahoma Confucius Institute started in around 2006. The primary mission of the OUCI is to help Oklahoma K through 12 schools develop and offer Chinese language programs. Today we have 42 different schools in the state of Oklahoma that are offering Chinese to about 5,000 to 6,000 students a year. In the beginning, we mostly were using volunteer teachers for China, but today we only have 4 volunteer teachers, and all the rest of the teachers are locally certified teachers from Oklahoma. In addition to helping the schools develop these programs, we provide teacher training opportunities so that they can learn about techniques of teaching Chinese language. Our second mission is working with our Chinese partner institution, which is Beijing Normal University, in a program that's called Chinese Literature Today, which focuses on publishing and disseminating works of Chinese translated into English and producing a journal called Chinese Literature Today, which is comes out 4 times a year and focuses on contemporary literature of China.
Wonderful.
Yes, and Confucius Institute at San Francisco State University is one of the first group Confucius Institute. It's the first home for Confucius Institute on the West Coast. It was established on April 15th, 2005. We shared almost the same mission with the other Confucius Institute to provide instructions of Chinese language and culture for those people who want to learn the language and culture, for them to have a better understanding of China. And we offer courses for the students on campus and beyond. Also help the local K to 12 students to train their teachers and to offer the program for their principals and superintendent to visit China. And also we offered a summer institute for Chinese language teachers, especially local Chinese language teachers. And every year we offer the courses on campus for graduate students, and also we provide services for local students, especially those schools, they don't have Chinese language teachers yet. So we provide these preschool and after-school teachers to their kids. And also, we have a program for teachers in China. We strongly recommend those local teachers for further training in our partner institution, that's Beijing Normal University. And one of the good programs in our area, I mean Northern California, is Chinese Bridge Cup competition. And for this year, we have 1,400 K-12 students participate in 6 categories of competitions. Pen calligraphy, brush calligraphy, composition, translation, and the Chinese poetry recital. So this is a marvelous annual event in our area. We hope that we can do much more for our local schools.
Great, wonderful.
Thank you.
How about Weiru? What do you think?
Confucius Institute at Portland State University was established, signed a contract with the headquarters of Hanban in January 2007, and we become the second on the West Coast after San Francisco State, and the first one Northwest. And our mission is to serve the greater Portland community in promoting Chinese language education for the community, and also we serve the outreach program and help the local K-12 schools to expand the Chinese language program and to assist them and bring teachers to help the teaching of the Chinese language in the Oregon K-12 schools. In 2010, with support and assisted by the Confucius Institute at Portland State University, Oregon legislature passed a law to promote Chinese language and culture and offer Chinese courses in all K-12 public schools. And then this created a big demand for Chinese language, qualified Chinese language teachers, because more and more K-12 schools started one after another want to offer Chinese program. So our mission, our responsibility is to help them bring Chinese teachers as needed. We have, right now, we have about over 30 Chinese language teachers, regular teachers and volunteer teachers, we call them teacher trainees, to help the K-12 schools. Right now, we have established, under our Confucius Institute, 25 Confucius classrooms. And in addition to 2 other independent Confucius classrooms in Oregon, altogether we have 27. And before the establishment of those Confucius classrooms, we had about 5,000 students learning Chinese, and we only had about 17 teachers having teacher license. Right now, with the more establishment of the Confucius classrooms, the number has almost doubled in learning Chinese. We have one teacher who just arrived in August last month, and she started teaching in one of the local public K-12 elementary school, and she told us that she teaches 600 kids.
Wow.
And the principal told her that they wanted to offer Chinese for every kids in the school. He said, how can you handle 600? He said, well, I do half an hour per class. So hopefully we can be able to bring more teachers to help her.
Great, that would be nice. Looking forward to see your program keep growing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm from Binghamton University, which is one of the 4 centers of the State University of New York system. And our Confucius Institute is called the Confucius Institute of Chinese Opera at the Binghamton University. So its name tells that it's a specialized Confucius Institute. So we also teach Chinese language and culture, just as everybody does. But we also have a special focus, which is to promote Chinese performing arts, especially Beijing opera. So we offer courses on Beijing opera and Chinese instruments on our campus, and these are college credit courses. So they're very unique and are very attractive to students. Students are very happy because they probably cannot take this kind of courses on other campuses, but they can take courses of this kind on Binghamton campus. And also we have a very professional, highly professional performance group. And they perform Beijing opera, and in addition they also perform Chinese vocal music, instrumental music, dance, and acrobats. So our group also tour different places, different campuses, the schools, the communities across the United States. So bring Beijing opera, authentic Beijing opera shows, and also different types of different genres of Chinese performance to many audiences. So if anybody wants to see authentic Chinese opera or Beijing opera, let me know. I can bring it to you.
Wonderful. Like every university has its own different features that people can learn different things, including cultures and languages. And also, because like all of your university collaborate in different parts of China, so is also students can learn different parts of China too? What do you think? Is this like...
Our teachers come from central China, so they have a tendency to be able to share the culture that's very specific to Wuhan with the students of Pennsylvania, and your teachers all come from different parts of China as well. So,
well, in addition to having our primary partner for the Confucius Institute, so ours is Beijing Normal University, we also all have partnerships with other Chinese universities. So when we send students to China, we send them to Beijing, into Yunnan. We work with Yunnan University, to Nanjing with Nanjing University. So students get an opportunity to see more of China than just one place.
Great, wonderful. So do you think it takes different approach for teachers they come to China, actually train in China, also they train in American? What do you think this way of approaching is like it's being widely used in CI?
absolutely. I mean, the teachers in our program are master's candidates of teaching Chinese as a foreign language. So they're working on a master's degree in this. When they come to the University of Pittsburgh, we use the year or two they are with us as a practicum experience to the degree they're getting at Wuhan University. So we put them in an American classroom and give them the opportunity to apply what they learned in China and what they learned from us in a training program in the US, and then do it in a practical way in the schools themselves. And as we were discussing earlier, you know, we were saying how good the Chinese teachers' English is when they come to the United States, but sometimes they believe they understand the culture of the US, but putting them in a classroom is a whole different experience. And once they're in the classroom, they not only understand American culture better, they understand the teaching methodology that we ask them to use that's related to the ACTFL standards, the American Council of Teaching Foreign Languages. And I think there's no other way to learn except the learning through doing method. You go into an American classroom as a foreign teacher and you learn as you go along. And it's a very valuable experience for them, and it's a great experience for us as they learn how to teach, because the kids get such a very rich experience out of it. So what do you all think?
Our teachers came from Beijing Normal University and Nanjing Normal University, including our Chinese director. And the Normal University have very strong faculty, especially in teacher training. And also San Francisco State has a very strong faculty of graduate college of education and strong faculty of Chinese programs. So we use the facility, those faculties from both universities for teacher training. As you know, teachers are very important in education, and we have these facilities. So we have to use these facilities to provide service for our Department of Chinese Language and for our local students in teacher training. So that's the reason every year we have very good summer institute for local Chinese language teachers. We invited professors from Beijing Normal, from Nanjing Normal, and also invited those teacher training experts from school district in San Francisco. So they create very good curriculum for the training. And this is a very important annual event for local teachers. We hope that we will provide enough high-quality teachers for local schools in Northern California. That's the reason why our president wants to set up Confucius Institute on campus. We want to be one of the best center in our region, in the field, I mean, in teaching Chinese.
Wonderful. So it sounds like there is a lot of interactions between all these different universities and programs, and also focus on the practical, how to promote the skills for different teachers. It's very interesting to hear a lot of volunteers that become certified teacher now. It's gradually become more normal.
I have a question. What does Confucius Institute hope to gain or do today? And in 5 years, what does it hope to be at? And in 10 years, where do you expect to accomplish?
Well, I jump into this question. I would like to, first of all, I forgot to mention that our partner university is Suzhou University. The reason that we select Suzhou as a partner university because Portland sister city is Suzhou in province, one of the 2 paradise cities in China. And we have volunteer teachers every year, just like University of Pittsburgh, graduate students studying, majoring in teaching Chinese to speakers of other languages coming over here to assist teaching in K-12 schools. And of course, some of the teachers, you know, they're trained to become the teachers teaching foreigners Chinese, but most of them, almost like 100%, have never been abroad. And they come over here, they need to learn how to teach the local students the teaching methodology. Like we did a similar thing like University of Pittsburgh to train those students. My projection in that in 5 or 10 years down the road, I would say that in Oregon, I cannot say that in other parts of the states, but in Oregon, our goal is to have a Chinese program in each K-12 schools. And we are bringing more and more teachers from China, and some school districts are also trying hard to hire. As long as the economic financial condition allows, they will hire local teachers. And right now, the main problem is the licensed teachers. In Oregon, we have 20 licensed teachers, but we need probably at least 200, if not more, because as more and more K-12 schools started Chinese program, we are now establishing a Confucius classroom not only in the greater Portland area, but also in the rural area. Like recently, this year, one of the 9 Confucius classrooms that was established back in June this year was Sisters, 4 or 5 hours away in the rural area. So there's a big demand and need. So that's the target, that's the goal that we want to reach out to these rural areas. And hopefully in 5 years down the road, we'll have Chinese program in each K-12 schools.
And Mayru makes a really good point. I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That we're building it and people are coming to it, and there's not enough certified teachers within each of our states to kind of meet the demand of what we're creating in a lot of the states. As we expand out in the next 5 or 10 years, we need to have more certified teachers within our states to be able to take on and have it all the way through the public and private schools throughout our states. I'm sorry.
That's all right. And I suppose the central question is why are schools in the state of Oklahoma, the state of Pennsylvania, other parts of the country, why are schools so interested in offering Chinese classes as opposed to Swedish classes or Russian classes?
Why? I want to know.
And I think I can sum it up fairly easily. The president of my university, who used to be U.S. Senator David Boren, has said that in the 21st century, the relationship between the United States and the People's Republic of China will be the most important bilateral relationship in the world. It doesn't mean that other relationships aren't important, but U.S.-China relations is clearly a major factor in determining what's going to happen on this planet in this century. The United States is the largest economy in the world. China is now the second largest economy in the world. In a matter of time, 10, 15 years, China will be the largest economy in the world. The U.S. will be number 2. China right now holds about $1.3 million in U.S. debt. So the Chinese are watching very carefully as the United States went through its recent exercise on raising the debt ceiling, because that affects people that own American debt. So U.S.-China relations are, the United States and China are interconnected in ways that are very deep, very complex. And I know that families in Oklahoma, parents in Oklahoma, really believe that learning Chinese is very important for their sons and daughters, for their own success as they grow up, they get jobs, they work in a global economy in which the U.S. and China are the two main players. So I think there is a lot of interest in the U.S., as we're all finding, in learning Chinese, and the Confucius Institutes, that's really our primary mission, is to help meet that demand for Chinese language classes for our kids.
Yeah, I think it's probably hard to predict the picture for next 5 years or next 10 years down the road, but we may use the past as a reference. So next year, 2012, will be the 10-year anniversary of Confucius Institute. So it means the first Confucius Institute was born in 2004. So then 10 years ago, there was one Confucius Institute, and there's none in the States. And 5 years ago, which is 2008, right? It's 2008. Then our Confucius Institute was established in 2009, so we didn't exist at that time. But probably yours, right? You are the pioneers. So, but do you have any idea how many Confucius Institutes in 2008 in the States?
There in the States, there
About
were
20, something like that?
no, there were about
That's a really amazing
25.
number.
Yeah, about
25, about 25.
We were
So,
20.
so now about
in
almost
2007.
100 now.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
it's
big
like
growth.
4 size bigger, and I think this after 5 years, I don't know how many after 10 years how many, but I think in terms of language, students' interest in learning Chinese, as Paul and Michelle just said, and Meru said, it will still have a huge room for development. I think Chinese is now the fastest growing foreign language in the States. However, the absolute number is still small. I think I read from maybe 2 years ago, the schools offer Chinese language or has Chinese language programs were still like 4% in the United States. So it means still 90% 2 years ago. And I think probably doubled, if doubled, it would be 8% school offers Chinese language. Still much less than traditional European languages like French, Spanish, Italian language. So there's still big room. So in 10 years, I think students' body will grow a lot.
So according to the statistics from Hanban, by September 28th this year in Kentucky, it's the first joint conference of U.S. Confucius Institute. There are 97 Confucius Institutes and more than 400 Confucius classrooms in the United States alone. There are 200,000 Chinese language learners, including 100,000 K-12 students. So that's why Dr. Yan told us that there's a much room for us to improve our programs. And we all agree that languages and cultures have power to connect people. I agree with all of you. I just mentioned that. If we want to partner with any university, any country, we should learn their language. If we want, for example, we want to visit China, we want to do business with China, and we want to to develop our academic programs with China, we have to teach our young students to learn the language and culture. So that's the reason why Confucius Institute in our university got very good support from communities and from our president and his administration.
Absolutely. Actually, I saw Meiru just have like a presentation recently talk about the business in China and the legislation in China. So is that like, what do you think from an American point of view? What are they interested to learn? Like a business or legislative? They can learn everything through the classes too? I mean, I'm just trying to say, do you put this as considered a part of the courses?
Actually, I think what our main focus and mission is about global citizenship. I mean, being a part of the greater global world and what that looks like. And American students have really not done well understanding a lot of the other parts of the world. And China, as Paul has pointed out, is going to be our major economic and business partner. But the job of K-12 education for us is global citizenship, having a very well-rounded, educated set of students who understand another part of the world in a meaningful way is really what the mission is. I mean, we want our students to learn Mandarin, but the chance of them in Pennsylvania having a high level and high degree of understanding just through the Confucius Institute is perhaps more limited than what happens on the West Coast. We have a very small, much smaller heritage population. And our goal in the next 5 years is to introduce AP Chinese at the high school level. But that's a big goal. It's a big leap for us to get them there. So part of our real core mission is all about global citizenship. What's your responsibility to another piece of the world? How do you understand it? And the teachers are like young diplomats. They come in, they represent China, they're young, they're enthusiastic. That experience for our students, for a lot of them, is the only Chinese person they may ever meet.
Yeah.
So it's really sort of weighted, you know, for that young teacher to be able to show that
What is
sort of
China
thing.
about?
Right. So
That's wonderful. So
Increasing number of Confucius classrooms or Confucius Institute is the one thing, and then our main purpose is to increase the number of learners of Chinese. So training local Chinese language teachers, qualified Chinese language, is actually more important than bringing more and more Chinese language teachers from China, because that second initiative is like a transitional. While we are training the local teachers and waiting for the qualified local teachers to take over the program, and we introduced the local, the Chinese language teacher from China. So Confucius Institute at Portland State University, we recently collaborate with our Graduate School of Education to join the program in Chinese language teacher license and also Chinese language major. And Hanban has recently approved our application. So we hope as soon as next year we start recruiting students. Students studying this program will be future Oregon Chinese language teachers, or maybe Chinese language teachers in the United States with a teacher license and Chinese endorsement. And we are working on it, so hopefully we can produce more and more qualified local Chinese language teachers, and in addition to bringing more teachers on need basis to Oregon from China.
So that will be the future directions.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
So whoever, like, who will be qualified for this? Anybody who is interested in teaching Chinese language? Or
Yeah, we have like a pre-service teachers who wanted to become a teacher in the future. They are welcome to apply to study in this program. Our in-service teachers, we have a large number of in-service teachers who are teaching in both public and private K-12 schools, but they don't have a teacher license. And they are not, they didn't study Chinese or how to teach Chinese or Chinese to speakers of other, teaching Chinese to speakers of other language. They didn't major that as an undergraduate, graduate. So these teachers need badly trained, and then maybe to get the license and the endorsement in Chinese. Yeah, that's how we wanted to arm these teachers with the license and the endorsement a Chinese major degree in master
Sounds
degree.
good.
Yeah.
One question I have is, as a non-student, how does someone go around to learn Chinese? What is the process that they would use?
Study hard.
Do
And
they can use
practice.
like internet or some English corner or I mean Chinese corner? here?
Offering classes for the adult population?
We do that. We offer evening classes for the adult populations, and we also do business Chinese on a very limited basis with, smaller groups. But usually it's evening adult classes, and they have mixed results. I mean, it's good, but the adults are usually very busy, and Chinese in the beginning can be an intensive language to try to learn. So, but we want everybody to have the opportunity to learn if they want to learn. So do you all
That's
have
wonderful.
adult Chinese classes
Yes.
too?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Yes, we do. We have Portland State University Confucius Institute offers more than 30 type of Chinese courses. The target students are adult students. For the evening classes, we'll offer evening classes on weekdays, and all type of almost like 1/3 or if not half of the classes are targeting for true beginners.
That's
So
good.
the true beginners, we have a larger population, a student population to study. It's like a pyramid, large base, and
So
as you
from
go
different
along,
backgrounds.
yeah. So our purpose is that we offer as many courses as we can. It's non-credits. However, we cannot compete with the Chinese language major in our university for language department. We're not supposed to compete with them. And then any courses that they don't offer and they don't want to offer, they cannot be able to offer, and we offer those courses. We even offer simultaneous interpretation courses for business purpose and
Oh,
for
that's very wonderful
yeah,
program.
yeah, and in oral interpretation and translation, these kind of courses are very popular. A lot of like senior college student who study Chinese and who major in Chinese, and they wanted to go higher and study in some beyond 400 level courses, and this is the choice for them. And on weekends we offer courses for the K-12 students, and one of the very popular courses is the Chinese language course for heritage students. We have a large number of heritage students whose parents speak Chinese, but they were born here. They are ABCs.
They
and
actually
need to
do want to
improve.
learn Chinese more.
Yes, yes, and become very popular these days.
So actually your classes can targeting with different people with different background.
Yes, yeah. We tailor our program, our classes to the need of the community.
That's wonderful.
The children need to be trained. Adult learners should be trained too. So we offer evening classes for professionals who want to do business, who want to be interpreter or translator in the future for the government or for business. And every year we have business Mandarin 1 and 2 and 3. We also have spoken Chinese because some people just concentrate on speaking and listening abilities. So so I think we need to train this kind of teacher to teach adult learners and to help them to improve their 4 skills: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Only speaking and reading is not good enough. As soon as they arrived in mainland China, in Hong Kong, they found out they cannot understand what people are speaking.
That's
And,
another totally different, like they speak
That's
Cantonese.
right.
Do you also have Cantonese classes too?
So we are trying to help our Chinese program for language department to create a kind of Mandarin courses for professional purposes, in terms of translation and conversation and negotiation, this kind of basic courses. We encourage them to think about the plan, the future plan in 5 or 10 years, to establish a special major in teaching Chinese for professional purposes. And the director and the chair agree with me, and we will be working together to reach this objective.
Yeah, great. Actually, I heard a lot of business friends. They have this need. That when they go to China, they want to know how to live there, how to do business there. So, but it's wonderful that your program can provide this. But it seems they also need to know how to get to your program. So, do you think what's the best way to like broadcast the CI, or what's your future plan?
We have offered courses on campus, off campus, and online. Like Nike Corporation, they need their employees, some of the employees that work with the Asian countries, they want to learn Chinese and they don't have time to come over to Portland State from Beaverton. So we send our teachers to the headquarters and teach them twice a week.
Wow.
And we also offer online Chinese courses, 2 types of online Chinese courses. One is people register with our classes, they don't have time, and we set up a time, we do one-on-one tutoring. And then the second type, any student who have registered and learn Chinese through Confucius Institute, we offer them free online Chinese chatting time. So we have teacher, we sign teacher every day from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. We have, it's our Skype is on. Anybody
nice.
Can jump in and say, Ni hao, and they started to talk. And they even practice writing on computer online, Chinese characters. And they say something and then they type it out in characters.
That's
and
really
they ask
good.
our teacher, 老师, can you check if my typing is correct? So it's different ways of helping the community.
Yeah, they can learn instantaneously right away,
Right,
get
to learn
corrected and
Chinese.
practice. That's
Right.
nice. So, Doctor, what do you think about the offer? Do you think when students, when they learning opera, is a good way to help them to learn Chinese language too? Like the Chinese offer you're talking about. So it's like your students, they really collaborate and they do offers.
You
in
mean
life.
opera, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's a little different, I think. For our courses, students learn like Beijing opera combat, stage combat, Beijing opera face painting, Beijing opera movements, these things. And in the musical classes, they learn to play different Chinese musical instruments like bamboo flute and pipa, these kind of instruments. So mainly, I think these are cultural courses, not directly relating to language, but some students they did start to have interest in Chinese culture and language, and they learn Beijing opera first, then they would go to the Chinese language classes.
And then they're really interested
Right,
in
they're
opera.
really interested in Chinese culture and the Chinese language. So I think it's kind of both way. In our like Beijing opera classes, some students, or quite many actually, from our language classes. They learn the Chinese language and they have interest in Chinese culture. But some students just go the other way. They start with Chinese culture, then go to Chinese language classes.
But for young kids, particularly
something-
elementary school kids, Peking opera is a fantastic way to introduce kids to Chinese, because all the masks have different colors and they have different moods, and so that you can teach a lot of vocabulary associated with Beijing opera. And then, of course, they're really interested in all of the kung fu and all of the movements. So you can get kids excited about doing the kung fu and about learning the music, and you can tie all that in with vocabulary building. So you can actually learn a lot of Chinese using Peking opera as the way of getting them interested in the language.
Yeah, exactly. So we actually met quite many kids. They saw our show first, then they started to take Chinese language classes in their schools.
Wonderful, and they can actually perform in the show usually?
You mean our students, our college students, they do their class recital every semester. So of course they are amateur, but they were really very good and amazed lots of professors and students who went there to watch the class recital.
Which brings us to an interesting point, because there's lots of ways we introduce various aspects of the culture to get people engaged, not just linguistically, but also sort of culturally. We hosted last year an entire troupe of Chinese traditional medicine people from London South Bank University, because they run a traditional Chinese medicine program throughout the schools in all of the UK. And we had them come, and they brought people who did Chinese traditional medicine programs for young children, introducing the concept of Chinese wellness and how that works in society. But they also had opera singers and some kung fu demonstrations and other things to get young kids engaged in it. But the message was about how does food and medicine and the sort of spiritual aspect of Chinese traditional medicine, what does all that mean in Chinese society? And it went all across the state of Pennsylvania to 7 different schools. We had about 6,000 people come and participate in the entire program. It was really wonderful, but it was a different way to introduce the concept of what Chinese culture means, how it's used, how various aspects function, which is what's so wonderful about your opera program. It gives everyone the opportunity to see another aspect in a very in a very deep level of something that's very meaningful and very important in Chinese society. So at that level, we're all very fortunate to have lots of platforms in which we can introduce various kinds of people and students to Chinese culture and society.
We've been talking about how to teach Chinese. What are the different ways that is good to teach Chinese?
After 7 years practice, I learned a lesson that to teach Chinese in the United States, we cannot depend heavily on one approach. So we have to choose the appropriate approach for different students with different background. For example, for the kid, and they cannot concentrate on Chinese language teaching for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So you have to teach them in their way, in their language, and also with a lot of activities in the classroom. For adult, you have to explain everything clearly. First, before they start to learn the language itself, they have to know the rules, they have to know the grammar, they have to know structures, and then lead them step by step to the content. And some people told me that the traditional Chinese teaching approaches didn't work very well, and I don't agree with them.
So what is the traditional way of teaching?
The grammar translation, for
grammar
example,
first,
the memorizing poems, for example, and it's my personal experience in learning English as second language myself. If I cannot memorize anything, I cannot learn anything. So if I can memorize little by little, one paragraph and one paragraph, then finally I find out I got proof. So to evaluate output of a language learner, there are 2 things we had to take a look. One is progress, the other is motivation. For a good teacher, they do need passion, of course, but they also need good education and good training. And if a graduate from Graduate College of Education, they have very good education background, but if they have not experience in teaching, they are not still a good teacher. So it's my idea that we should put those students with the Graduate College of Education. After graduate, they need to have a good training. They have to have good skills in teaching.
So what are the training like?
Like classroom management and different skills in teaching, listening, speaking, and writing. They have to know the target student. If they don't know anything about student, they cannot teach the students in the classroom.
So what they need to know about the students?
Their age and their habit and their hobbies and their language, and then you have to train them step by step. Again, as a good teacher, they should understand their students better than anybody else to be a good teacher in the classroom.
certainly in Oklahoma, our experience working with the younger kids again is that things like Peking opera work, but music is also an excellent vehicle for teaching language.
Through Chinese music?
Learning Chinese songs.
Oh, wow.
Because
okay.
just like you need to memorize.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah.
But American culture is not a memorization culture. Exactly. So American children, we don't really focus too much in our culture on memorizing anymore, whereas China is heavily focused on memorization. So we have to find extra vehicles to help with memorization. Tying music to learning the words and the meaning of the words turns out to be an excellent way for anybody to learn anything. It's much easier to memorize a song than it is to memorize a poem. So you can use music as a way with younger children to help them learn Chinese language. And it even works with older children, although unfortunately when we get to the high school level, we try to teach Chinese just the way we teach all the other languages, which is we do grammar, we memorize vocabulary, but music is an excellent way to get there.
That's a good way.
Exactly, and actually at the Binghamton University, we offer a course, it's a college course, it's called Chinese Through Song. It's for students who with 1 year or above Chinese language to take this course and to improve their linguistic skills and also singing skills at the same time. So the whole course actually teaches students like maybe 2 dozens of Chinese songs, and at the same time they improve their language skills.
Yeah, I agree that we have over a dozen teaching methodology, teaching Chinese approaches, but we cannot just apply all of them to all your classes with all ages, because certain method may be applicable to adults, like grammar translation method. And if we use the immersion method for adults, it may be difficult. It will take a longer time for them to learn the language better. But for kids, immersion and direct method works. And these days, in the field of Chinese language, for speakers of other language, communicative approach, task approach are very popular, fashionable. And a lot of people, even some people talk about, you know, sometime I interview and ask our teacher before they come over here, we say, what kind of teaching methodology do you use when you teach in China? They say, well, communicative approach, task approach. We say, what do you mean by communicative approach? Do you use a communicative approach to the true beginners? Before they even know how to say ni hao, how can they communicate, right? You have to teach them linguistically sound, and then linguistically they have learned enough, accumulate enough language and grammatical rules and points and vocab.
But
And
they
then they can be
learn
able
everything
to.
at the same time?
Yeah, they cannot communicate right away in the real world. They have to start with the linguistic communication in class, like drillings, and practice through competition, repetition. I'm sorry, not competition. So after that, they feel comfortable in the classroom communication linguistically, and then we set up different situations, different settings, and then like this is introduce yourself. My surname, my family name, who I am, my nationality, whatever. And then you cannot just ask them to mechanically introduce. You can give them different settings. This is the job interview. Now the corporation give you 1 minute to introduce yourself. How do you say that? So the student get excited. They thought that what they have learned, even though how simple it is, but it's applicable to a real world situation. That's how we step by step introduce them how to communicate in the real world. So it's not like everybody can use a communicative approach.
And we're actually also practicing the drama, like an opera approach.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And one of the things that I want to expand upon from what Meiru is saying, one of the things we've been emphasizing with our teachers is to use what I would consider to be an embodied approach of Chinese culture. Meaning our teachers come and they're really wonderful, they're wonderfully trained and they have all these techniques, but they often fail to explain that in context in the American classroom how important it is to have those students treat them as they would treat a teacher in China. So always refer to the teacher as Lao Shi, always stand when she comes in the room, never wear a hat, keep your feet flat on the floor. I mean, all the things that I would consider to be an embodiment of the respect and honor it is in China to be in school, and how one teaches a teacher. I keep explaining to them there's culture, which is opera and singing and paper cutting and all these things that are like not embodied. But then there's this way in which you teach and understand the reciprocity of respect and honor that need to be a piece of your everyday lesson. So an American student understands that in order to be in a classroom in China, that's an honorific position for a student. And you really need to explain to them through your actions an embodiment of culture, of how one treats one another. The hierarchy of respect is important for an American student to understand, because we're a little bit more casual in the US. So how do you embody that? How do you convey that? And that to us is also an important piece of the experience that a student needs to have.
It's the beginning of the communication. What's good manners?
Well, my fear is they go to China and then they act badly, you know, on a day-to-day lesson. They could speak perfectly, but they don't know how to treat a teacher. It reflects badly back on what our mission is and the full sort of spectrum of understanding.
Well, it's very wonderful to see, like, we have the Chinese methodologies and American methodologies, and to help people growing to learn not only memorize and acting in life and manners. That's really great. Actually, we have several minutes left, so if any of you please give like a summary of what you want to tell our audience, or how to improve the language, or what do you think, like, to join the conference here?
Well, we're very honored to be a piece of this conference at Portland State, because Mei-Ru is certainly somebody we all honor and respect deeply for all her hard work and commitment to this. And she gives us a great model from which to, you know, aspire to. And we all, the thing about the Confucius Institute, particularly for all of us, we're sort of the old guard now. We've been in since the beginning, many of us. And it's, I know, we've been in 7 years, so it feels very much like a family. And the Confucius Institute network has grown into this wonderfully rich and sort of great bridge between the United States and China, and I'm very deeply honored to be a piece of it, as I know my colleagues are as well.
Yeah, so all of us are very honored to be here for a special program that is U.S. Confucius Institute Director Forum. So we will be here to share with participants our programs and our achievements and our programs for the future, and especially our resources for teaching and learning Chinese in this country. And also here to learn from other colleagues from across country.
Great, wonderful.
It's a very exciting time to be involved in helping Americans learn about China. In some ways, the Confucius Institute is like a stone dropped in the water. And the ripples go out in all directions. And you have no idea in the beginning what those ripples are going to touch. But it affects so many things. I'll just mention one totally unexpected, that in the Confucius Institutes we're very focused on helping our students learn Chinese. At the same time, our Chinese colleagues are working very hard to teach their students English. So many of us in the Confucius Institute, besides learning about how we do a better job of teaching Chinese in our country, we're actually helping our partner universities in China learn how to teach English in China. Because the reality is that everybody in China, all kids in China learn English, whereas only a fraction of American students learn English. So it's a time of the United States and China really beginning to learn more and more about each other and gaining a much deeper understanding of each of our cultures and each of our languages. So it's something that's been working both ways, and the Confucius Institutes, I think, play a pivotal role in helping that communication between our two countries.
Wonderful, great. It's great timing and great opportunities that CI can provide for all these people who want to know more about China and American.
Yeah, we like to use the conference like a platform for all the CI and CC teachers and directors to exchange their ideas and then learn from each other in terms of how to teach Chinese language in the United States, in American schools, K-12 or college, so that the purpose is to improve the quality of teaching in the future. And in addition to increase the number of the Confucius classrooms, the Confucius Institute, but quality of teaching is more important. That's our purpose.
And also reach your mission.
Oh, wonderful.
Your ambitious vision for all the K-12 schools.
Yeah, we hope someday that this is like a spreading the seeds, and then it will bloom.
Keep growing.
Yeah, I think Confucius Institute is a very unique organization, and took place in this juncture for the history of the U.S.-China relations. And I think personally, I think I'm happy to be involved, to be a part of this endeavor. I myself I teach Chinese literature, pre-modern Chinese literature. And then now I'm doing this work, and it took a lot of time away from my research, but I think it's very useful in a meaningful work. So I'm happy to be a part of this, and I'm honored to be here today. And I think you just raised a good question about 5 years down the road. I think you may have this interview meeting again after 5 years. We will see how much it will develop. It will be very interesting.
Wonderful. We look forward to see it. CI has been growing a lot. Maybe 5 years later, we'll invite all of you back again.
Yeah, maybe I will not be in this job, but somebody will. But I think it will be very, very interesting. Yeah.
Great. Very wonderful. Yeah. It's very honored to invite all of you here today, and really appreciate that you gave us the talk on the different subjects about learning Chinese and about CI. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much. Thanks.
Now we can look around.
Yeah.
Okay.